Today, I'm going to share with you guys the secret behind my little home recording studio here, and the reason that I'm able to get such professional sounding recordings out of this little tiny room. It's not that hard, it's not that cheap, but it's actually pretty interesting, and I think you guys are going to like it. So let's get to it. After a few years of recording with inexpensive microphones going directly into my interface, things like that, I realized what I needed in my studio was one really great channel, one really great signal path, okay? So what I'm talking about is, when I say signal path, I mean everything from the instrument to the microphone, the preamp, the interface, and then what's coming back at me. What we're going to talk about today are the microphones and the preamps and the interface, okay? So I am going to talk first about the microphone that I got, and I do want to show this. I will be making a full review of it. This is my AKG 414 XLS. These retail generally around $750. No, it is not an inexpensive microphone, but what it is an extremely great microphone that is under $1,000. No one in their right mind would ever look down at this microphone. This has an amazing heritage. It's been around forever, even has some connection to the Beatles. You know, I love that. So this sort of came up and into popularity in the early 1970s with the earliest versions of the 414. Now there are a few different versions. I like the XLS personally, but that's step number one. Get yourself an awesome microphone, okay? So I know it's not cheap. I know $750 is not cheap. And I know that there's microphones that are pretty good and almost equal. But again, the object of this entire thing, the entire mission of home recording, at least for me, is to make it sound as much like a real recording studio as I possibly can. Now, I can't afford 64 channels, but I can afford one channel. So that's what we're talking about, right? So step one on the one channel, AKG 414, you can find them used for a lot less. I'm going to leave links below, and they are affiliate links, just so you do know, for Sweetwater, but microphone, step one, okay? Next thing you're going to need is an awesome preamp of some sort. I'm going to recommend two that I do personally use and own. The first one being the Golden Age Pre-Q 73, okay? So that is a Neve 1073 clone. They retail for around $430. You can find them used. There is a link below for new stuff. But again, this is another preamp from that era of the 1970s. So when you put it in line, you know, with a microphone that was designed in the 70s, they tend to sort of work harmoniously, okay? It's not a necessity that you match your microphone technology eras or anything, but that was just sort of my thought process. It was like, okay, here's a microphone that came up in the 70s, here's a preamp that came up in the 70s. Obviously, the Pre-Q 73 is a Neve 1073 clone, which was, you know, originally invented in 1970. These are modern day versions of them. I love Golden Age. They make high quality things. I've done a full review of that preamp. It is awesome. Now, if you got a little bit more money to deal with and to work with here, I'm going to step it up here on that preamp. I'm going to recommend the Heritage Audio 73 EQ Elite. It is another Neve 1073 clone. It's just a better one, okay? It's not that the GA one, the Golden Age one, is perfectly good. To my ear, the biggest differences are the Pre-Q 73 has a little tiny bit more noise when you start really pushing the preamp itself, the preamp section, not the master output of it. And then it also has a little bit less definition in the mid-range. However, am I the only person who can really hear that? Maybe not the only person, but pretty much only audio engineers are really going to hear the differences between those two. That being said, I do recommend the Heritage Audio one because it has that EQ on there. It is so delicious. The EQ is so musical and so simple to use, and I absolutely love it. So that's that, okay? So we got a microphone, the AKG 414 XLS. We have a preamp, which is going to be the Golden Age Pre-Q 73 or the Heritage Audio 73 EQ, okay? I know we're getting expensive. Now, the last piece of this puzzle, not really, because it depends on your monitors, but what I'm going to talk about today is your interface, okay? One of the pieces of an interface that is very undervalued here, a lot of people do not discuss this, and I don't know why, but it is the A to D conversion and then back the D to A conversion, right? So analog to digital, meaning your signal, your instrument, your voice, whatever, gets turned into a digital signal that your computer can read. The computer then spits out a digital signal back to that interface, turns it back into an analog signal, and then it comes out of your monitors. That part of your interface is going to be essential. It has to be a good one. I love the Focusrite interfaces across the board. However, if I'm going to recommend one for you, it's going to be the Claret 4 Pre, which I don't know if you can buy new anymore. I should have checked before the video, but I didn't. Point is that you can get those things used anyway, and that's what I did. I bought one used for, I think, around $400. I can't remember, but it has one of the highest quality D to A converters that you can get in a small, affordable package, okay? So it is the Claret 4 Pre from Focusrite. That's the signal path, and that was the theory behind my studio a few years ago. I really just started tucking money away. I mean, if you need lessons on how to save money, we could discuss that. But you guys, just put 20 bucks a week away or 10 bucks, whatever it is. Just keep putting it into that shoebox or a jar and just be patient, be patient, be patient. I know it's fun to have a bunch of microphones and all that stuff, but like I got that whole case of microphones back there and I honestly use like maybe 3 or 4 of them at this point. That XLS, this thing right here, the 414, this is my #1 microphone right now for vocals and guitar. Yes, I still do use the Avantone CV12, and in fact, I did get the brand new one, and I will be making a review of that. And again, we'll be making a full review of this guy right here. That single channel that I want to talk about, that one single signal path. You don't need 2. You know, if you're like me, at least, a single person in a single room, playing guitar one at a time or whatever, I very rarely do stereo recordings, and when I do, I can just use the interface preamps. It will be fine. Or of course, I could use the 2 different preamps that I have, but for most cases, when I'm doing stereo recordings, I will just go directly into my interface and do it that way. Whole point, again, I'm gonna hit it again, single channel. Work on one awesome, expensive channel. I know it's expensive, but it is so worth it. The results, I mean, you get that microphone, you get that preamp, and you get it going through a decent interface, you will immediately hear the results. There is no denying that signal path is a good, clean, nice, warm, tons of detail signal path. It's a famous one. You know, you find all of those pieces of equipment, maybe not the interface, but you will find this microphone in every single major professional recording studio. And you are starting to find those Heritage Audio 73 EQs in many multi-million dollar recording studios because they are about half the price of a real Neve 1073, but they are pretty much exactly like a Neve 1073. I cannot personally hear the difference, especially the stuff from the 70s. It's, you know, there's always a variation. Like I've heard 1073s, you know, A and B right next to each other, and they sound similar, but they don't sound the same. You know what I mean? So you can get the new stuff and rest assured it's going to sound good. So I think that's about it for today. If you have any questions about what I'm talking about, please leave them in the comment section below. And don't forget, there are affiliate links in the more info area here. And I hope something about this video gave you something to think about. Just work on one super awesome, high quality channel. And trust me, it's going to be awesome. All right? Peace and love.